Hey everybody, this is Alysia or AVP, the female half of the Dream Team. So I am back with a full review today to do the full review of Nancy Drew and the Mystery of the Seven Keys. So in case you didn't know and you're maybe new to the channel or whatever, so basically I am a huge Nancy Drew fan. I've read the books, I've played the games, and I've actually gotten to meet some of the people that have been part of the games, like Lonnie Manella. I actually got to meet her, and I also got to meet Mark Biaggi, who was also the one that played Mason in the Deadly Device. And Lonnie Manella basically was the original Nancy Drew. Now we have a new Nancy Drew voice actress named Brittany Cox. And so every single time there's a new game, I always try to buy the game, and then soon afterwards I do a review, and then I give you my input on how I did in the game. So this one was no exception. This game, Nancy Drew and the Mystery of the Seven Keys, came out last year. And basically, this is the first Nancy Drew mystery that takes place primarily in Prague, basically. And so Nancy Drew has mysteries all over the world, and she's always assigned cases, whether it's working undercover for a mystery, resolving a murder, or uncovering a problematic type of boss. It could be anything like that, or it could even be where she is falsely accused of arson in her own hometown. Excuse me. So this one was no exception. Nancy has been hired to do, basically it's involving a necklace, and then she was the person that hires Nancy, basically tells Nancy, hey, I have a necklace and I have some jewels that I was told that are in it are no longer the real deal. That she finds out that they're actually fake jewels, and she wants Nancy to uncover the truth about it. So the thing is, when the game starts out, we don't realize who our point of contact is, because we basically, when the game starts out, we get a letter and a plane ticket, and then that's when the game kicks off from there. Once the game kicks off from there, we get into the coffee shop, and then that's where we meet two female characters. And one of them says that she is our point of contact. The other one claims that she's the point of contact, and it gets a little confusing. So who is who? And we have a mini mystery in that case to say, oh, can I prove who the real person is without any point of reference, which is kind of silly in my personal opinion. But once we find out who it is, or if we find out who it's not, the game kicks off from there basically. So Nancy determines who the real Adela is, and then the game starts off from there. So the game has primarily a few locations in this one, and it has a small handful of characters. And while the characters themselves seemed interesting and something I wanted to really check into, I was very, very disappointed with once I started playing the game, because a lot of times you'll be doing a puzzle and you don't realize it's a puzzle, or you realize that you have to do things in a certain order, and that can be very frustrating. I mean, for me, I typically do things on junior or the lower level of the form, what they call amateur sleuth. And so here's the thing: when I start working on a puzzle and I have a task list, I feel like, okay, I can check these off A, B, C, D. No, in this one, I have to go A, and then lowercase a, then lowercase b, then lowercase c, in order to check off A, the first one in the beginning, which is kind of confusing. And it's like, it's very frustrating. I mean, because I'm used to going through the task list and go, check, got that off. Now I have to go to the task list, uncover everything's underneath that one particular task, and then check off the individual task within that. That's very confusing, and I don't like that at all. I mean, I know a lot of other people who have played the games said they had similar situations themselves. So, one of the puzzles in this game that you're supposed to do in order to receive a artifact that you'll be needing for a future puzzle is a snow globe. And basically, in order to get the snow globe, you have to beat the latte puzzle. So here's the thing: Her Interactive, I applaud their efforts in trying to create something fresh and different because various Nancy Drew games have food challenges, but this one was really, really difficult. And a lot of people complained about it. And I've noticed that because for a puzzle that where you can back away or move into the scene, you can't do that in this case. Basically, you're stuck in one area and you're left like, well, what do I do? And then you try to put it on lower graphic settings, or if you try to do it on going super slow, like if you have a roller mouse and stuff like that, it's extremely difficult and very frustrating. And I'm sure other people who may have had touch screens were thinking, well, maybe I can just touch the screen and I can do it that way. No, you can't do that. The game literally forces you to do it. And unfortunately, there's no way to solve it properly. And because of they didn't get all the kinks worked out in that case, people were contacting Her Interactive, the developers of this game, saying, hey, we're having issues. Can you help us with this? And eventually they had to give people a solved form of the puzzle, basically, that you could download and put into your game and then start the game from there. You could do it in amateur mode or you could do it in master sleuth mode, and you could get a PC version or a Mac version. And one of the things that was a little bit tricky when you would download that folder is because you had to put in a specific saved folder for your game, you had to find that particular folder where it is. It took me a lot of time to finally figure out where do I go in this. And I didn't like that at all. I mean, because it took me almost half a day going through my laptop saying, well, where's this folder? Where does it go? And then once I finally found it, I'm like, okay. And so I was thinking, okay, I can start up the game now, and the solved game will be there. So that's the thing. It wasn't there. I had to shut down my laptop, restart it, and then that's when the game appears. And that was like really, really frustrating. And I did not like that one bit. And so here's the thing: if you had done anything prior to that puzzle and saved it and stuff like that, and then try to do that latte puzzle, thinking, oh, I've done these puzzles, I can paste in the latte puzzle and then proceed from there. No, you can't do that. Everything you did prior to the latte puzzle was now lost. And you have to go back and do it over and do it again. And that was incredibly frustrating because, sure, the latte puzzle is solved at that point, but now you got to do everything else. You got to go back and find the locked book that's in the cafe. Now you have to find the point of contact that Adela gave you and contacted those point of contacts now. That's really frustrating. I mean, for a gamer, you want to say, hey, I did this, let me paste in the new one, and then just keep moving forward instead of moving backwards to keep making sure that your progress is saved. That was really frustrating for me. I didn't like that one bit. And I was like, you know what? If this is any indication of what's going on now, maybe this is a sign of things to come. So I would move forward with the game. I avoided doing what they would say, where you would go through your task list and then get the full solution. Here's the thing: those solutions, if you did do them, it wasn't always clear because sometimes you had to rotate things a particular way, or you had to turn a certain direction. The map manipulation in this game was very, very challenging because if you think you're turning to the left to exit the room, you have to turn left and then you have to turn left a second time. That was very difficult, and I did not like that. I mean, normally I'm used to playing a game and then if I turn left, I turn left. This one is saying turn left, 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 left to get out the door or whatever. That's really ridiculous. It shouldn't be that way. It's like, really, why? Um, The puzzles, I appreciate the fact that they were trying to do something new in some of them, and I was like, some of them, like the marionette puzzle, you have to do in 7 steps, and you have to do everything just right. The cool thing about that puzzle I did like, now I will say this much, is it had 3 different stages. If you did it completely right for that particular scene or puppet, it would give you a green. But if you had something missing or was something was completely not quite right, it gave you a yellow. If you had something completely wrong, it gave you a red. So you had to make sure that you had completely green, and then that way you can move forward to the next scene. You have to do that 7 times for the different puppets. You have to give them either a prop, or you have to make sure you give them the dialogue. And it's just like really, really difficult because the character who gives you the script is just like, oh, I need your help. Can you help me? And then you start working on it. And it's just like, it's not very clear because one of the characters you believe is a male character. And then when you read the script in the speech bubbles, you realize that character is not a male. It is actually a female. So I did not like that. The characters in this game felt a little bit bland. The ones I did like were the ones that were in the computer shop, and also her grandfather, and also the guy that she has a crush on. So let me give you their names so you guys, so I will see if I can pull up a screen so you guys can see what they look like. Let's see. Nancy Drew and the Seven Keys. Yes, we need that one. Alrighty. Alright, so I'll pull that up for you guys. And this one is from Her Interactive themselves, so I am sharing their photo of these characters. Okay. Alrighty, here we go. Alrighty, so on the top left is Oscar. He's the one that's in the museum a lot of times, and he's very particular on things. He was a decent character, I will say that much. I liked him, but then I also didn't like him. So it was like a love hate relationship I had with his character. Because, yes, he seemed challenging, but I don't know. I feel like he was missing a little something. So it was like, I like him, but he's missing something. But okay, so the next one after that one is Elka. Elka, she seemed like she was a nice character, but then we find out things about her, which I'm trying not to spoil it too much, but basically, when we find out things about her and that she seems a little bit too willing to help you, you might say, because she teaches you about, quote, computer hacking and stuff like that, and how to cybersecurity. And it's like, okay, I get it. I get what you're trying to do, but not sure what I think of her. The next one is Leon. Leon is the missing priest in part of the game later on. So I liked him, and he seemed like a sweet old man and everything like that. He just seemed a little bit like, you might say, scattered about what he wanted to do. And but I liked him, and I liked his cat. The next one is Adela, which I've been mentioning. She was pretty cool. I liked her, but I do know that she was a bit secretive, and she was like a little bit, how do I put it? So she was a bit questionable because she's like I said at the very beginning, you're trying to find out if it's her or another person that's posing, quote, as Adela. And you're like, okay, I don't know who's the real Adela. And then you do some more investigating. You realize, okay, I think this one's Adela, this one's not. The next one is Zane. Zane is the one that he is a point of contact on the phone where he helps out Nancy in uncovering some of the files. So the Hardy Boys put you in touch with them, and that's actually kind of cool. But I don't know. I think I agree with everybody's assessment that he should have been better as a physical character instead of just a phone contact, because when he's a phone contact, it just seemed like he was just like pointless in many, many ways. So I'm like, okay, I get it, but yeah, no. The next one is Merrick. So this is Adela's, not Adela, I'm sorry. This is Elka's grandfather. I liked him. I really did. I mean, he seemed like a sweet gentleman, and I wanted to know more about him. But yeah, I liked him a lot. And then the next one next to him is his, you might say, understudy in many, many ways. And he, I don't know how to describe it. He was pretty cool, though. I did like him. I mean, that's the only complaint. He was pretty cool, though. I mean, I just didn't like the fact that he makes you do the puzzle with the marionettes, which was a little bit not a personal favorite. The next one is Patricia. She was actually pretty cool. I liked her. It's just because she was the most helpful of all the characters, I would say that much. And she basically helps you with answering questions that you have about certain organizations that are there in Prague. And then the last one is Vladena. Vladena, I did not like her at all. I mean, early on, she gave me the vibes like, I really don't want to talk to you. I'm only talking to you because Adela has hired me to uncover my missing gems from my necklace, but I don't really trust you. And you're an American. And she came across very standoffish. But honestly, I did not like her character at all. I mean, I get what they were trying to do with her, but I don't know. She seemed very cold and indifferent compared to some of the other characters. But yeah, like I said, my personal characters that I liked was Leo and Leon, and I also liked Patricia. Those two I liked a lot. Those, and I also liked Zane. So this one was a little bit trickier. Like I said, the puzzles, it was fine, but they could have been better, honestly, because they should have worked out a little bit more kinks, and then they should have worked out a little bit more with the navigate and the game around and stuff like that. That was not really well done, honestly. The locations in this game, unfortunately, are very, very limited because you only go to about two parts of the map, so to speak. You can only go to where the coffee shop is, and where the museum is, and Vladena's office, and parts of the museum. And it's like, really, you're. And then the other part of the second half of the game is where Elka's shop is, and where the puppet shop is located. And it's like, honestly, you didn't need two different sections of the map in order to do that. That didn't seem productive, and it seemed unnecessary. So I was like, no. Um, the death sequences, because I did get a couple of death sequences, because I would mess up from here to there. Uh, I don't know. I didn't like them because there were certain things like when Nancy's trying to talk, and then she's obviously trying not to talk, and because you hear her voiceover, and like when Nancy has a coffin spell in one of the puzzles, when the culprit is trying to kill her, literally, and basically you have to act quickly in order to get the antidote for Nancy to be saved, basically. And honestly, the fact that she's talking and then in the background you can hear her coughing and trying to catch her breath, and then I did not like that puzzle at all. I mean, it was very, very difficult to navigate because the culprit has left the poison that she's tried to poison Nancy with. It's basically it's on the ground, but you can't just reach out and grab it like you think you would. Unfortunately, you have to basically turn around multiple times before you can finally grab it and then create the antidote in the alchemy portion. I did see a few references to previous games, which I thought was kind of cool. I mean, I did like the fact that she says, I need some torque, which is similar to Ghost Dogs and Moonblade. I did like the fact that we did alchemy, but the thing is, Nancy almost like she forgot about that she had done alchemy before in Blackmore Manor. Or the phone conversations in this one felt a little bit bland. I like the fact that I could call Ned. I was very disappointed that we didn't get to talk to Bess or George. Trying to call her father, Carson Drew, was unproductive. You can only make one phone call to him throughout the whole game if you choose to do that. I mean, one of the achievements that I got basically, you can either tell Carson or you can tell Ned that you've completed the case. And so that's where you get your one and only phone call with Carson Drew if you choose to do that. And I didn't like that at all. So I only got 4 achievements in this game. The first one was called Some Special Someone. So that one is where I called Ned to tell him that Nancy had completed the case, and she decided to tell him first before she told Carson. Like I said, I mean, because Carson was very unhelpful at this game. I mean, he says he's a jewel expert, but yet throughout the entire game, you cannot contact him at all. The next one was called It's Locked, which I thought was kind of funny. Kind of reminds me of the way Lonnie would always say it when she was playing Nancy, It's Locked. Brittany, who does Nancy now, when she says it, it just feels a little bit flat, a little bit dry, and it's not as good as Lonnie's to me. The next one is called Legend of Prague. That was kind of interesting because I went throughout the game basically just not using my task list to, like, finding out the hints and whatnot. So that was kind of interesting to do because I was like, okay, let me try to do without any hints and solutions from the actual task list, which I did. The last one was Trivia Tamer that I got as well. Trivia Tamer. So I noticed that they only give you one question, and it's basically based off of the Haunted Tour. So the Haunted Tour game, I will point this out about the game. I actually have gone on haunted tours here in San Diego area, and they were a lot more interactive than this one here in the game because the one in the game basically you go at your own pace and everything, and you don't know the order unless you know the layout of the museum, and you don't realize that you have to do the haunted tour until you realize, oh, I need this particular puzzle to solve another thing. And in order to do that, you have to do the haunted tour, and you have to click the knight in the corner, and you had to click it in certain spots, which was a little bit ridiculous, and I didn't like that at all. But I appreciate the effort that they were trying to go for. But honestly, the haunted tours I've been here in California have been way better than the one in the actual game. The scenery in this game, so when the game opens up, it looks beautiful. But then when you start playing the game, you're just confined to a couple of areas. And then you also see what they call NPCs, non playing characters. And those characters just stand in place or they just sit there and they do nothing for the entire game. They just, I mean, I get it, they're filling in the gaps where people should be. But the thing is, you see them at the most inconvenient times. Like when Nancy's trying to go past a certain gate to get into a gate, she has to go around these people who do nothing and then go around them multiple times in order to get through the gate. Like, that's ridiculous. And she can't talk to anybody because there's people in the cafe and she can't talk to them. The only one she can talk to is Patricia or Adela or Leon when he does give you a coffee for Adela at one point. But honestly, it was really ridiculous. This game was not a personal favorite for me. I did like it. I appreciated that we got to visit a new location for Nancy, but uh, a little bit disappointed the way this one came across. It was just, no, definitely not a favorite for me. I mean, because here's the thing, her interactive kind of messed up here in this case because if you bought the game, which was much higher than the other games, so this most Nancy Drew games are about $20. This one was almost $35, not counting taxes. And if you wanted the strategy guide, which normally was included with the games for free, now you had to pay for that. And the drawback to it is now her interactive limits you to when you buy the game, you have to do it within so many months of downloading and purchasing the game. You have to download it or else they lock you out and you're without your purchase, which is ridiculous. So I had to contact her interactive because I had basically moved from the East Coast to here in California, And so I had to say, hey, I just recently transferred from one location to another, and I didn't have a chance to play the game. I bought the game, I purchased the game, but I haven't had a chance to install it. Can you help me out with this? And so, fortunately, they were kind enough to give me a little bit more time to install it, put it on my computer, and I was able to play it. Same thing with the strategy guide. I said, hey, I don't have access to the strategy guide. I had it, I purchased it. Can you help me out with it? So eventually I was able to get that straightened out and resolved, but I don't like that kind of bugging system where they limit you to so long because people are constantly upgrading computers or losing passwords or access to computer things, and now they're forcing you to do it within a time limit, and that's ridiculous. If I was gonna rate this game, I would give it probably maybe about a 7. Like I said, because there was parts of the game that needed something. It's not quite an 8 to me. I did appreciate what they were trying to go for, but unfortunately, exploring Prague was a little bit limited. The characters were a little bit limited. The puzzles, I appreciate what they were trying to go for. It was kind of cool to learn more about Prague history, the kings and queens, and all that. But honestly, the characters were lacking something. The puzzles were lacking something. The scenery was lacking something. But honestly, so why don't we see if we can go over the trailer for this game real quick so we can look it over real quick. And I was very disappointed like this, like I said. Okay, so. And also in this one, I did not see a sneak peek for the next game, unfortunately. Okay, so. Okay, so I'm going to put that up and we will watch the trailer for this one. This is the official trailer that Her Interactive put out there. Okay. Okay, so it was rated for mild violence and stuff like that. There was a little bit of violence. I can agree with that. So yeah. So so yeah, this is where we get to see Prague and everything like that. This is the only time, unfortunately, we get to see the exteriors of the city at this point. So this was a kind of a cool view. This was part of that haunted tour that we got to do. This was kind of cool to see that clock. So I like the fact that they did have a miniature of this one actually in the cafe, which was kind of cool. So those are the two characters I was telling you about that are primarily in the computer area of the game. Now this was not in there at all, unfortunately. They said it was there, but we saw a laptop in a hidden area, but we didn't actually see this. So that's Vladena. That's kind of, yeah, we saw some of this. So we see Oscar when we first meet him when he's in the museum. He's on the phone, and then basically he's just telling Nancy, be careful, don't break this. But that's like the only time we see him. So this is Zane. This is the only time we see Zane, but unfortunately, he shows up at the very end of the game. We don't see him in any other part. I mean, we talk to him, yes, but don't we actually see him? No. This is another thing I was telling you about. Where right here, you see people in the background. They're just standing there. Sure, I get they're placeholders, but really, they really don't do anything. It's just like, ugh. So that's another puzzle. That was actually kind of cool. I did like that thing. I did love that cabinet. I thought that was actually kind of cool. The lighting in this scene was a little bit weird, but I got used to it. So that was the coffee shop right there. This is where we get to see Patricia, and there's Adela. She looks a little bit like this in the game when we see her, and she basically wears the same outfit throughout the entire game.
You Nancy Drew.
I am.
Have a seat.
So that's
I've
Patricia.
been waiting for you.
So that's Patricia. Like I said, she's a really sweet person. I like her.
In your letter, you
So
explained
this is the letter that she gets at the very beginning. So this is where we get the plane ticket, we believe, and we get in contact with Adela.
what was stolen.
It was my mother's necklace.
So that's a puzzle that we have to do when we're snooping into her purse. And basically, this is the necklace with the fake jewels, and we have to unlock it. We had to do it kind of quickly. Kind of reminds me of when we were doing Lewis and his briefcase a couple times.
That has now been replaced with fake gems.
It has
So this one, we have to go into the safe. We have to work in there kind of quickly, but yeah.
gone too far.
What's this?
Suspects. You
So this is the one that is a really sweet guy. I like him a lot, but unfortunately, we don't get to see him too much in the game.
will reach out to them and find
So
out
that was Elka. Vladena. Vladena always acts like she's very standoffish and she doesn't want to talk to us too much, which is unfortunate.
who stole the gems.
So this was actually kind of cool, but unfortunately, it doesn't look completely like that once we see the final game. Unfortunately,
Is this place? A car.
so those cards we can find throughout various parts of the game. That was kind of interesting to see, but we only can only find 10 of them, which we can get an achievement for. I think I only got about two or three of those actually.
And footprints.
The footprints I
Who's
remember a little.
there?
So those puzzles, like I said, you get turned around very quickly, unfortunately, in some of those tunnels, which I did not like too well.
The necklace, it is the same as the first time I saw it.
Okay, so she never appears in this area in the game, which is unfortunate. They just did it for dramatic effect here.
The jewels belong to the people.
You must have heard about the gem forgeries
And we don't get to get close ups of these jewels at all, ever.
in Prague.
Not the usual tourist
This is toward the very end of the game, unfortunately. But it was a cool area to explore.
question.
I'm not the usual
That puzzle you had to do very specifically.
tourist.
I did like the hidden
I'm
clues.
gonna snoop. I'd better be quick. This mark.
That puzzle was kind of interesting.
It could be part of an ancient
So that one you have to turn a certain way.
riddle.
Alchemists were very clever.
We don't see those seven keys at all, ever like that.
We should get out of here.
It's a good thing I have a
So the bobby pin you had to do very correctly. That was kind of interesting. That was similar to some other Nancy Drew game. Basically, the only drawback is every time you mess up, you hit a, a really loud thump sound, which I did not like at all.
bobby pin on me. I found
So that's the book I was telling you that we find at the very beginning in the cafe. Like I said, I had to do this one twice. I had done it, and then when I did the latte solution one, I had to go back and redo it again a second time, which I did not like.
this iron key.
The iron key does not look like that. It does not have a redstone like that in the final game.
In our streets, there are
So some of this looks like this in the game, but some of it does not.
secrets to unlock, lurking in every
They don't have all that.
corner.
I wonder if I'm looking in the wrong
So this was a puzzle you had to do with boxes.
place.
Traditions are not changed easily.
That one was in there, yes. We had to do a cipher code for that one.
Trust no one.
I have my work cut out.
So that's your notebook that you have. And it gives you all the little photos of the different characters and even one that doesn't have a photograph, Hans.
Out for me.
You can never be too careful on the
Elka.
internet these days.
Getting closer.
The cyber blocks. I did not like that puzzle. I mean, you have to do it like twice in the game. But the thing is, it's in multiple levels too, which I did not like at all. I had to have help with that one. Ugh,
It is the puppets of
slide in
death.
puzzle. Oh, that was not in there, the skeleton.
The real monsters in Prague?
We don't get any. I mean, we have an idea later on, but In the actual game, no.
Don't always look it.
Mhm. So yeah, we see him, but he doesn't ever look like that. Mm, no, that puzzle I did not like. I'll go back to that so you guys can. This one I did not like at all. That was not a fun puzzle at all. That was just like really, really ridiculous. The way they had to do it because you had to move the different figurines and it just ugh. I did not like that one.
Sometimes the past
Something's following me.
should
Didn't look
remain
like that in the game. Didn't do that.
past.
I mean, I appreciate what they were trying to go for. I really do, but honestly, this was not a personal favorite. So, yeah, that's my review of Nancy Drew, The Mystery of the Seven Keys. I give it a 7 out of 10. I mean, is it worth the higher price? No. Are the puzzles more challenging? Yes, but the thing is, they're not clear on the instructions. The characters were mediocre, the settings were mediocre. It's just a mediocre game. I give it a 7. It could have been so much better, honestly. And the voice acting, still not very good in this. And so, yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. This is my review of Nancy Drew, The Mystery of the Seven Ship Keys. Do I think there'll be any more after this one? I kind of highly doubt it, even though Her Interactive says they might, but they're going to have to do better. That's all I got to say. All right. This is Alysia, AVP, signing off. Thank you and bye bye.